Learning how to plastic weld with a soldering iron can not only save you time, but it can also save you a lot of money too. There are a lot of plastic parts on the car, and oftentimes they snap, and sometimes these parts are really large, and it takes a long time to get that part out, and then you've got to buy a new one and put it in. Or when you take this soldering iron, you can simply just stitch it back together, and these bonds are very strong, considering 90% of these parts are made with a plastic called high-density polyethylene, which this plastic is very durable, but when it breaks, you can't glue it with epoxy or super glue, or for that matter, any glue, but you can bond it together with heat like this. Once you master this skill, you'll be using this technique all the time. Let me go through a case example of when you might use this technique and where you'll find it useful. So this Toyota Camry has the fan assembly broken, and you could take the whole thing out, get a brand new one, and put it in. All said and done, this will be $100 in parts, so if you don't mind the stitch marks, this is a great technique. So let me explain how this works. So the first thing you need is a soldering iron, and I like to use a cheap $10 one. You don't need a high quality one for this. In fact, what it'll do is it'll save your good one for when you're soldering. Because the tip gets so dirty when I'm soldering like this, I like to designate it just for plastic welding. So from the beginning, when I start plastic welding, first I penetrate between both pieces and just kind of let the soldering iron heat up those areas and get it all melted in there. Once you fuse them together aggressively, that's when you spread the plastic back and start making it look a little better. What would really be a great idea is to take pieces that you really don't care about and practice on those first, because you'll get a feel of how to penetrate into the plastic and get that strong bond. This process is also something that you want to do outside, because as you melt the plastic, you can see and smell the plastic fumes. Most of the time when I do a repair like this, I have to actually point it out because people won't notice it. Now, if this is some kind of a show car, this may not be a technique for that, but if it's a normal driver, this is a strong bond, and what could you do with an extra $100? Well, I'll show you again how this technique works on the second piece that's broken. So again, you aggressively use the soldering iron to fuse and melt these pieces together, and it'll kind of bubble over on either side. Then you just kind of push that back into the hole, and this makes a strong bond. Now, the better you get at this technique, the better it'll look. And if aesthetics is something that I really do want to maintain, you can take a little bit of sandpaper and sand it a little bit, and it will look a little bit better when you do that. Most of our cars, we usually drive until about 200,000 or 300,000 miles. So I've got cars that I have done 25 years ago like this, and those plastic pieces are still in total working condition. So next time you have a broken plastic part, this might give you another option. Well, I hope you have found these techniques useful, and if you did, please give the video a thumbs up. This is Error Code Guy, hoping you will dare to repair.